There's an issue with Mars that simply can't be solved by science or by any other means at all. They say that Mars is a truly lifeless planet, a place where life just isn't naturally possible. Scientists have found ways to keep humans alive there using technology, but this silent red planet, which has become the new center of human hopes, might have some very different plans. There's a dangerous phenomenon here that has already claimed the life of NASA's Opportunity rover. Welcome back once again to GMTV's videos. Viewers, before we discuss this particular issue about Mars, we need to understand why we're putting everything on the line and pinning our hopes on a barren planet 210 million kilometers away. Look, scientists believe that the natural resources available to humans on Earth are gradually running out. Glaciers are melting, rivers are drying up, and living near the equator is becoming more difficult with each passing day. According to estimates, even if we manage to control the greenhouse effect by the year 2100, a large portion of the world's glaciers will have already melted, making fresh water extremely scarce. But apart from all this, if our world is struck by a disaster like a dangerous pandemic, a global nuclear war, or an asteroid impact, then there will be no other options left to ensure the survival of human civilization. And just like the dinosaurs were wiped out from the world, the same could happen to humans. To avoid this day, for many years now, we've been searching for a second home, and this second home won't be on Earth, but on Mars. By 2050, we humans have the ambitious intention to build a human colony on Mars, and maybe, just maybe, we'll even succeed in making this incredible dream come true. Scientists have chosen our neighboring planet Mars for this mission because Mars and Earth share many features, like the time of day. A day on Mars, which is called a sol, is about 24.6 hours long, which means it's only 36 minutes longer than a day on Earth. Just like on Earth, different seasons have been observed on Mars, such as summer, winter, autumn, and spring. But these seasons are longer compared to those on Earth, because a year on Mars is also longer. Just like on Earth, traces of ancient rivers, lakes, and ice have been found on Mars. Besides this, Mars also has poles just like Earth's north and south poles, and there is ice accumulated on them as well. Mountains, valleys, deserts, and volcanoes, all of these exist on both Earth and Mars. In fact, the largest volcano in the solar system is on Mars, and it's called Olympus Mons. And finally, even if it's less, Mars does have gravity and an atmosphere. Considering all these features, Mars has been chosen for human colonization. Now, of course, Mars is an Earth-like planet, but it's definitely not exactly like Earth. For example, traces of frozen water have been found there, but this water doesn't flow in rivers and streams in liquid form, so you can just take it out and use it. To extract this ice from Martian soil and make it usable, you would also need a lot of equipment. Similarly, the second most important thing for humans is oxygen, which makes up about 20% of the air around us in Earth's atmosphere. In Mars' atmosphere, there is only 0.13% oxygen, and the remaining 99.87% is carbon dioxide. Advanced systems will also be needed there to produce oxygen. And most importantly, even during the day on Mars, the temperature is extremely cold, often dropping to -60 degrees Celsius, and at night it gets even colder. To protect the human body, strong protective suits and heated shelters will be necessary. And yes, even if you have everything you need there, you still can't move around freely, because Mars doesn't have a strong magnetic field of its own to protect humans from the sun's dangerous and harmful radiation. If you aren't adequately protected from the sun's radiation on Mars, it can eventually lead to serious diseases like cancer. Now, to deal with all these complex issues, the scientific community has been working for many years. For example, NASA has the MOXIE project to produce oxygen on Mars, which is working on generating oxygen from carbon dioxide on Mars. MOXIE will compress and heat this CO2 gas to extract oxygen from it. This process will require electricity, which will be generated by solar panels. Similarly, to protect against the cold air, scientists have designed inflatable habitats and underground bases. The idea is to build these bases either in the Martian desert or beneath the mountains. To protect against radiation, either bunkers will be made from Martian soil or specially designed heavy shielded suits and shelters will be prepared. Some people are suggesting that Mars caves can also be used. There is also a solution for the water problem on Mars. As you know, there is ice beneath the surface of Mars. NASA and the European Space Agency are developing drilling and heating technology to extract water. This water will be used for drinking, farming, and oxygen production. So we've covered solutions for oxygen, water, radiation, and cold, but there's one last thing needed to keep a human colony alive: food. Let me tell you, the concept of controlled environment agriculture has also been developed. That means sealed greenhouses, where air, water, and light will all be under artificial control. These experiments have already been successfully conducted by NASA in Antarctica and on the International Space Station. But on Mars, there's still one issue that hasn't been solved yet, and that's the dust storms there. At first glance, Mars' red and desolate surface presents a silent, lifeless scene. Looking at the pictures, this desert seems like a peaceful yet lifeless place. Deserts spread out in every direction. Rocks and the faint whistling of the wind make it feel as if time has stopped here. But in this video, watch as something starts to appear on the horizon of Mars. A terrifying wall. This is nothing else but the scene of a storm on Mars, and it's not just any ordinary dust storm. The sublimation of dry ice, that is, frozen CO2 turning directly into gas, creates such powerful winds that the most terrifying storms erupt on Mars. These storms don't just engulf an area the size of a city or a continent, but can swallow the entire planet. And these superstorms emerge on Mars almost every 3 years. The dust in these storms is so extremely thick that sunlight can't reach the surface for months, sometimes even longer, and this poses a major threat to critical human technology. Everything from solar panels to vital communication systems can fail. If humans want to build a colony on Mars, they'll have to face these storms. But the problem is that we still don't truly understand the real cause of these storms. Maybe we have some idea about it, but if we haven't been able to stop such storms on Earth, how can we even think about stopping them on Mars? Mars wasn't always plagued by dust storms. Once, this planet was also lush and full of life, with a thick atmosphere and flowing water. But over billions of years, Mars slowly dried up and its atmosphere eventually and gradually disappeared into space. Today, Mars's atmosphere is only about 1% of Earth's, which is practically nothing in comparison. But these dust storms don't happen just because Mars is dry. In fact, scientists believe that a major reason behind these storms is Mars's temperature. You see, when the atmosphere is dense, it effectively blocks much of the sun's heat and also absorbs a significant portion of the heat that rises up from the ground. But because Mars's atmosphere is so extremely thin, if you stand there during the day, your feet might feel as warm as 23 degrees Celsius, while near your head it could actually be freezing cold. This happens simply because the atmosphere is just too thin to properly absorb and retain the heat coming from the ground. This huge temperature difference creates strong winds, and those winds bring storms. On Earth, storms bring clouds with them. But on Mars, instead of clouds, there's dust. Once this dust gets into the air, because of the low gravity, it doesn't settle back to the ground for months. Because of this, a layer of dust surrounds Mars not just for days, but for months. During dust storms, wind speeds on Mars can reach up to 8 kilometers per kilometer. Winds this strong on Earth can blow off rooftops, uproot billboards, and even trees. But we are not really in danger from Mars' strong winds, because these winds don't actually have any force. For comparison, the wind on Mars at 100 kilometers per hour has the same strength as wind on Earth at just 10 kilometers per hour, and that's because of Mars' thin atmosphere. The real danger isn't from the strong winds there, but from the sunlight being blocked by these dust storms. Because so far, all the solutions to keep a human colony alive there, in fact, revolve around solar power. And if we don't get solar power for several months, life there could come to a standstill. On January 24, 2004, NASA's Opportunity rover landed on Mars. Although its mission was supposed to last only 90 days, it continued conducting various experiments on the Martian surface for the next 15 years. But one day, it encountered a massive dust storm. In 2018, NASA realized for the first time just how dangerous Martian dust storms could be. During this time, the sunlight reaching Opportunity's solar panels dropped by as much as 96%, and now its battery couldn't be charged anymore. In these images taken by Opportunity, you can see just how much sunlight was blocked by the dust clouds over the course of 30 days. For a few months, Opportunity continued to support NASA, but after that, it went into deep sleep mode. NASA tried to contact it for months, but there was no response. A year later, Opportunity's last message was received, which said, "My battery is low and it's getting dark." After that day, no signal was ever received from Opportunity again. We hope you will also like and share this video from Zem TV as much as possible. Thank you so much for your loving comments. See you in the next amazing video.